Hey everyone, our power went out, so I'm actually setting in my vehicle with the air conditioning running, and I was getting ready to send out an article and some other info, and it looks like it's going to be a couple hours. So I thought, why not go and set in my vehicle and do a little video for you? So here I am. On July 5th, I had an encounter with some scribes in heaven, and it was an interesting encounter for me because one, I'd never encountered scribes before, and some had staffs, some didn't have staffs, and but they both were clearly a representation of kingdom government, of heavenly government, both in heaven and on earth. And during that encounter, I came into some unique revelation about myself. Normally, I just don't jump out the gate and share an experience unless it really gets in me and I'm able to, work it out. But I've actually been flowing in this for a number of years, and so it really just brought to light some things that have always been in me and some things that I've been doing, but just gave me a greater understanding of what it is about from an eternal perspective. So in this encounter, I learned that even beyond my earthly function, in heaven, I'm going to be a scribe. I'm a prophetic scribe, writing about different things. And of course, my thought was, what am I going to write about that most people already don't know in heaven? And I just thought, well, what use is that going to be? And so the question asked in my mind, I don't even know if I really asked it. It just was in my mind. I was thinking it when these things were being said to me. And so immediately the Lord responded and said, you will be writing about the continual expansion of my kingdom. And whoa. And even when I heard that, it just like almost knocked me over. But I thought about it later, and I thought, of course, his kingdom is an ever increasing kingdom. His love and glory is continually expanding throughout eternity. It's never ending. So obviously there would be endless things to articulate, to speak about, to write about. So that in itself was very exciting for me. And so while I have a function on earth to do that same thing, and actually when I write now, I have a greater understanding that I'm writing from out of multiple realms, meaning I'm on the earth, but I'm in heaven. And you've heard me write before about being multi-dimensional beings occupying multiple places at the same time. So in this sense, as a prophetic scribe, I have a greater understanding and revelation of what that is about. So even now as I write or speak, but writing's just a little different for me. But when I'm writing, it's like there's an open realm for me. I actually see myself in another realm, writing from that realm. And I know that it's increasing for not just me, but many of you. Now I want to say this as a scribe. When you hear the word scribe, some people think of a scribe as someone who is just sitting at their desk writing, maybe some religious document or whatever. But that's really not what a scribe is in this time. A scribe is anybody in any kingdom. So whether you're in agriculture, you can be a scribe in agriculture. You can be a scribe in science, in entertainment, education, whatever the kingdom, whatever the field that God has placed you in this time and order. Many of you are a scribe in that area. So what would a scribe look like in the sense of a business, say a business man or woman? Well, when they put a plan together, a financial plan, that plan actually carries authority. And so when they put pen to paper, they are releasing something in the realm of the Spirit, in the earth, and therefore it carries authority. Now, with that thought in mind, a couple of passages of scriptures. One is in Judges 5:14, and at the very end of that scripture, it speaks about the staff of office. And when you look up those words in the Hebrew, the word staff is actually pen, and the word office is scribe. That's another word for office. So what you see is a picture of the pen of a scribe, which obviously the staff represents authority, therefore the pen represents authority. Thus, why I saw some that were with holding a staff, which really the pen of authority that was given to them. The others, I think, because they didn't have, it didn't necessarily mean, just meant that probably their authority was something other than penning something out. But the point is that it also represents decree. So a scribe is someone who actually decrees something. So you can prophetically make a decree. It actually sets something in motion. I'm not talking about just speaking or predicting something about, but I'm speaking about creating motion, forming motion, which I've written about, spoken about many, many times over the years. But again, I'm being connected now to a greater sense of understanding or revelation of what that is really all about. In Matthew 13:52, Jesus said that whenever a scribe becomes a disciple of the kingdom of heaven, he is like a man who is at the head of a household, and he looks into his treasure, both old and new. He's able to see into his treasure, both old and new. And so I just think this is powerful because I see multiple things going on here. One is, it says that when Jesus said when a scribe becomes a disciple of the kingdom of heaven, that means there's a lot of scribes in the earth who have yet to come under the influence of heaven, thus a scribe of the kingdom of heaven. But they are potential scribes for the kingdom of heaven. So if you look at that in the sense of entertainment in Hollywood, there are a lot of playwriters and filmmakers and so forth that write, have influence, and what they write carries authority. But many of them are not necessarily disciples of the kingdom of heaven. Nonetheless, they are still a scribe, and so it just means that they haven't come under the influence of the Spirit of God. Now, I've recently met a scribe in Hollywood, and who is a believer, who is a son of God, and is coming more and more under that influence. And we had great discussions. I mentioned in a previous article that he's participated with Avatar 1, Avatar 2. I'm not sure at what level, but he's written other films, produced other films, and so forth. Anyhow, so I'm just saying that to note that when he writes something, it carries a level of authority. When that turns into kingdom of heaven influence, then he is like a man who is a head of a household in the kingdom of God, and therefore is able to tap into the treasure that is in him, and therefore able to reveal things both old and new. I love it. It gives me glorious goosebumps just to think about it. But it's just, I think this is very powerful. So I'm sharing this with you. There's obviously much more that I can say about this in terms of different words and definition. But I just want you to get a picture of the authority that God has given to you as either a prophetic scribe, as a scribe in the business world, like someone who puts a financial plan together and releases authority and power through that plan, education, where obviously there are many, many things that are put together for the purpose of learning, educating, revealing history, mathematics, all the above, right? And so that too carries a level of authority. All the papers and discoveries that are done in science, the authority that it has, the ability that it has to bring forth, all of those can become a type of decree. And so I'm excited because of the time that we are in, because as I've said for a number of years, that the prophetic apostolic is shifting into another realm, that it's become more creative. And I've always seen this, always known this for years without really seeing a lot of it come into view. But knowing that what we speak, what we decree, we begin to create things. I remember a number of years the Lord showed me an empty terrain, and there was nothing on that terrain. It would be like walking out in a desert and seeing just an empty field. And and the Lord spoke to me when He showed me that field, and He says, "Whatever you speak will be formed in this terrain. Whatever you declare will come into view." He said, "This is the future. This is what the the next level of the prophetic and apostolic will be about." And so it's literally, I've heard words terraforming or whatever. I mean, that's kind of a good word, but yet that's like saying that we're going to occupy, like go to a planet and make it earthly. This is more like going to a planet and making it heavenly. And so that's kind of the forming, the celestial forming that we are going to be doing on the earth. I've seen evidence of this in my own life and other people's lives, and it's increasingly growing every day. There is a continual display of this rising up more and more on the earth. And so I'm very excited about this. You see, the end is really like the beginning. In the beginning, everything began with light. Therefore, everything will end in light, not in darkness. Many people view the ending in a dark way. But when you explore heaven, when you engage with heaven, you realize that the end is the beginning of a new level of glory and light, unlike we have ever seen before. And so that is very exciting. That means we are coming into one of the most creative hours that we have ever known. And so I just bless you in that. I bless you in your journey. I'm going to be speaking more about this in the sense of all of the creative ability that we have to cause things to appear suddenly right before us. And so this is exciting news. Okay, so thanks for taking the moment with me. And I will see you when I see you. Bless you. Bye.